Welcome, everybody. I am Stacy Dunn-Emke with Nutrition Jobs, and thank you for coming to Marketing Strategies to Grow Your Nutrition Business with LinkedIn. So I have been a huge evangelist related to LinkedIn for a very long time because I think that all of us should be on the platform, but I'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. And then make sure everybody is muted. Yeah, thank you. Great. Awesome. And what I want to talk about really is there's a bunch of different free features that you can use on LinkedIn that can help your marketing and your strategies for sales and marketing to grow your nutrition business. But the ones I want to focus on today are Pages, LinkedIn Live events, one of my favorites, newsletters, and then also providing services. They seem like some of them seem kind of basic, but there's some nuances to them, and I'll talk about some strategies related to that. And I'm going to talk about how some of these can be used with creator mode and how some of them, you don't need creator mode for that as well. But these are just a handful of them, just because I want to keep our time sort of, tidy, and so that you can move on to the other activities. But I think that you'll enjoy these. I think these will be something that you can sort of, actionable items that you can get into and make some edits to your own LinkedIn profile right away. The other thing I was going to mention is that I know we talk a lot about like Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat, even that, LinkedIn I know is not as it's not as sort of like fun or sort of sexy as some of the other ones that are out there. But seriously, this is where you need to be. It is B2B, B2C. It is where you can find clients. It's where you can find collaborators. It's everything. I think there's like I forget what it's like 9 million people that are on the platform now. It's not one of the biggest ones, but it's probably one of the more impactful ones for me. I mean, I can go on and on about this, but it's one of my biggest converters and one of my biggest sources of revenue converting. If you look at some of my traffic. So LinkedIn is really a powerhouse. And I always think of it as like, it's like a big, gigantic networking event or a conference, LinkedIn is. And it is where you want to be. You want to be showing yourself professionally and showing all of what your services can do for somebody and help somebody at this conference. And you just want, you just want to show up really, really well, because you're going to be shaking hands with so many people. You want to make sure that you have a booth at this event. And that's what LinkedIn is essentially. And so you want to show up on your personal profile and on your company page, which I'll show you how to do as well. You want to show up really sharp and being able to sell your services there, or just show your services, whether you sell them or not. So just want to make sure that you're on LinkedIn. And if you've got any other questions about LinkedIn in general, unrelated to just the marketing strategies I'm going to talk about, you can certainly put those into the chat or connect with me later on that as well. And let me admit one more person. And so just a little bit about me, I've been running Nutrition Jobs forever, for like 20 plus years. And I've had lots of other types of jobs. I've been a dietitian for 30 years. So I've had lots of different experience. So I come at this LinkedIn thing from all different angles, as an entrepreneur, as a dietitian working in a traditional job for a company, as a dietitian working side hustles. So I come from it from all these different angles. And that's sort of what I love about LinkedIn too, because there's so many different ways that you can optimize your profile and for both harvesting clients or harvesting business, and also for being attractive and being sort of bringing in opportunities as well, just by hanging out on LinkedIn, or just by having a really fabulous profile on LinkedIn. So just sort of like, pulling back out and looking at LinkedIn. So you have what's called your personal profile on LinkedIn. And this is where you get all of your connections. This is where you sort of list out, who you are and what your background is. And then from there, you can, well, I'll talk about that in a minute, but that's like where everything happens. And I just want to make sure that you guys also know I have a LinkedIn profile checklist, and that can help you optimize your LinkedIn profile. That is, you can find it both on my website on Nutrition Jobs, but you can also find it in the Whova app. If you navigate over to the exhibitors and you go to Nutrition Jobs, and in there, it's one of the handouts that you can download, or that you can, I think it's a URL to go to that. So I can't remember exactly how I set it up, but you've got a LinkedIn profile checklist. This is specifically for your personal profile, but I'll walk you through a couple more things as well. Okay, so I talked about sort of, how you can get some of these marketing tools. And one way is through creator mode, and I'll explain which ones need creator mode and which ones don't. But creator mode is this new area that LinkedIn has sort of leaned into, and moving away from the idea, and sort of what my old fashioned idea was about LinkedIn is like this static place where you sort of upload your resume and you go there when you're looking for a traditional job. And it's not that anymore. It has really moved beyond that. And it is trying to stay up and current and relevant. And it's a powerhouse for business. But so B2B and B2C, as I mentioned before. But what they have done then is realize that there are people that are just, static, people hanging out on there, consumers, as I call them, or there's creators. There's a lot of creators on LinkedIn now, and LinkedIn has figured that out and has created a lot of tools for creators. And I invite you to be a creator over on LinkedIn. You can just toggle on if you scroll from your personal profile. So when you open up LinkedIn, you're going to go right to the main feed, and then you click your profile, and that will show your own dashboard, just like any other social media platform. It'll show your dashboard, and then you can see in there how you can toggle on creator mode. And once you toggle it on, you can toggle it on and off. I've actually never toggled it off, so I don't know what happens when you toggle it off. I don't think you lose anything, but in there, then once that happens on your personal profile, is that a few things change on your profile. One, you get the addition of followers in addition to connections. And this is relevant because connections can see, all of your business that you include in your profile, including your contact information. And you should always take a look. And so that's like right over here. Just always take a look and make sure that you have information there that you're okay with being public for your connections. And then your followers, they will just get your content, meaning your post or your articles or your newsletters or your invitations to lives or audios. They will get that without having full access to your profile. That may or may not matter to you, but it's just this great thing. And it's really easy to follow. It's a passive event, and it's just a great way for more people to get eyeballs. They can also connect with you, and I'll get a lot of those. People follow me, and then they try to connect. And when you put in a connection request, it automatically follows. So your followers sort of increases, and that helps with your clout on the platform for search and how you come up in search visibility as well. Sort of the other thing that they do is they move then when you're on creator mode, they then move I don't have a screenshot of it here, but they then move your activity down a little bit further on your profile and bump up your featured articles or your featured section. And in your featured section, that you can put a ton of information about your business or about yourself, information about like maybe videos you were on. If you do cooking demos, maybe a couple links to some videos of you doing cooking demos, articles, opt-ins, lead magnets. You could do all kinds of things in your featured section, but that just sort of gets bumped up higher on your profile so that people can see that quicker. So there's a few other things. You also get a bunch of tools. And when you turn it on and you click into it, you can see that you got tools. And in fact, I have always had LinkedIn Live. I've always had the events. I have not had audio events, and I did not have newsletters for a while. And I now have some new follower tools. So when I was making a screenshot of what my thing was like just a couple days ago, I'm like, oh, I have some more tools. I didn't even know it. So it's very dynamic. So there's more things being added all the time that you can take advantage of. You can also have topics, hashtags that sort of follow around, and that makes you show up in search results using those hashtags as well. So that's what creator mode is. And then that brings me to the next topic, which is pages, which does not require creator mode. But I want to bring this up because this is how you can then really create some really amazing real estate for your business using the LinkedIn pages. And let me just show you about that. So pulling back out again. So we talked about your personal profile briefly, and then you can have what's called a company page. They just changed the name. It used to be called company page. Now they just call it pages. So it doesn't matter if you have a company or not, or a side hustle or a full-time gig as your entrepreneurship, or a part-time job. So it doesn't matter whatever you call it. I always say that, your company page on LinkedIn it's not a legal document. Like they're not looking for your LLC or tax documents from last year or whatever. You can create a company page, even if you are just running a teeny tiny side hustle that you're just starting out and you want to build it up. It's a great opportunity. And then within your company page, you can also create professional groups. And this is where you get a lot of community engagement. And so let me tell you a little bit more then about how to set up your LinkedIn company page. I like to call it company page because I really think that helps me visualize why I would have two different types of profiles within LinkedIn. So then the company page, so you can just navigate over to work and then scroll down to the bottom. I've got all of the tools hiding, but I can't see, but I think it's down here someplace where you can then add your company page or the page, create a page. And they walk you through it. It makes it really easy. It's just like any other profile you would set up on any other social media platform. But then once you get in there, then you've got all these different things to do. You can create showcase pages. You can then do the publishing. You can do a lot of things within your page. So then you've got your profile, your personal profile, and then you have your company page over here. Because I'm myself over here. I'm Stacy. I do a lot of different things, but then distinct from that, in addition to that, I am Nutrition Jobs. So I want to have and cultivate a community that is just nutrition jobs and that is just that. They don't all need to be related to me personally. I may change my work later on and have a new company page. And so I like to keep them sort of distinct. And the same thing goes for like with your personal profile. You are not your business necessarily. And so your unique URL for your LinkedIn profile, when you're going to make a vanity URL, is you want it to be your name. You don't want it to be your company necessarily. So that's sort of a side thing. But let me get some more people. So that is how you then set up the company page. And then I do think that LinkedIn's a little tricky sometimes to navigate. And so I have here how to find your page. Like once you've set it up, I always copy the hyperlink to whatever I've created, whether it's a newsletter article or whether it's an event, or in this case, it's easy to find this, but I always copy it because sometimes LinkedIn does not make it easy to find what you've created afterwards. But for company pages, it is easy. And you just navigate over to me, and there you can view your profile, and there you can manage all of your pages. So you've got my company pages, I've got my showcase pages, and there. And that's how you can, I didn't mention showcase pages. Once you've created your company page, you can do a little showcase for something that you have. So maybe it's a showcase for a course. And then you can just put some information in there about your course. Again, it's just another arm of real estate for your products, for your services that people find. They come up in search results. So that's why you can sort of be quiet and passive. I have a showcase page that is, see if it's on here. Yes. The ebook that I wrote, I call the Dietetic Resume Guide. It is a download. It's a purchasable download. Is that a word? You can get it. And so it has its own showcase page, and I get downloads like every day. Like it's just over there, having its own little private life. And people are finding it on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is serving it up to people somehow, and people are buying the resume guide. So you can do that, but you do want to keep active on your personal profile and active on your company page, because LinkedIn will reward you for doing that, and you'll show up in more results too. So then you've got your page. There's lots of different options that you have once you're on your company page. And one of which is that you can have a bunch of URLs, and you can have signups. And so in your signup, you can have, or this hyperlink, you can actually have a variety of different options that you can do, like connect with us, or learn more, or register. I have sign up, or I've done visit website. I've done a bunch of different things to see. And what I landed on was sign up for subscribing to my email, my weekly email, because I think it's a great email, and I think it's really helpful so it's Nutrition Jobs email, the Dietetic Career newsletter, and it has stuff about traditional jobs, non-traditional jobs, and then I just give a whole bunch of tips on career stuff, whether it's resumes or LinkedIn, or different job opportunities, different ideas for job opportunities, alternative jobs. So it has a bunch of different stuff in there, and that's my currency. that of course I make revenue, but emails and email addresses are my currency, and that's how I can get sponsorships and whatnot. So you can decide like what is your currency on your website, and you can try out a few different things and see what works for you in this URL. And what I found, I get multiple email addresses from people wanting to subscribe in with this link, with this button. Of course, there's, I have lots of other lead magnets and other things to bring people over to our Nutrition Jobs and to the email site. But this one is just like really making it obvious. This is how you get on my list. So I like to use that. Then as you're creating your LinkedIn company page profile, you can, or I shouldn't use the word profile, your page, they walk you through the checklist so that you make sure you get everything optimized. And just like on any other social media platform, when you have it completed 100%, you get bumped up in the search results, and they reward you by serving you up to people who are searching for things on the site, whether it's actively or passively based on your activity, and like who you get to see or who you get to connect with. They will serve up more of you and your pages by being complete. So they just walk you through that. It's pretty straightforward, just like on anything. But I highly recommend that you do set up a company page. It's great. You'll like it. You have also some other options within, and let me dive into then LinkedIn Live events. This is my all-time favorite. This had a lot of different names. I know LinkedIn likes to alpha and beta test right in front of us. And so, so they have like the LinkedIn Live events. They've called it a bunch of different things, events, whatever you want to call it. So, and they help you walk you through it as well. So I did a poll of my community over on Nutrition Jobs, and I asked them what tool they would be interested in taking advantage of. And I thought it was interesting that most people chose newsletters, and not as many people did LinkedIn Lives. And I see this as an opportunity to grow and to showcase your services and to really show up. The newsletters, of course, I am a big advocate of those as well, but I think that's kind of going to be kind of an impacted area soon. But LinkedIn Live events, or I like to just call them LinkedIn events. You don't actually have to go live or stream live if you don't want to. I think they're fantastic. And so I end up doing I create a lot of content from just one LinkedIn Live event. I then populate my whole entire YouTube channel with live event recordings that I've had guests or solo speaking or whatever it might be. It's kind of like my podcast in a way, where I can give like a solo event or bring on a guest, like another dietitian who's worked in websites or blogging or media or whatever it might be. And that's where it all lives for evergreen, so that I can eventually get some ad revenue over on YouTube. It hasn't happened yet, but it will. So watch my YouTube videos. Okay, so what was this page? I forgot what this page was about. So how you set it up is that you can create events, whether it's on your personal profile or now, actually, you can do it from your company page. So I do it from both, and you can set it up both in your phone and on the desktop version. I like the desktop version because then you can fill it out a lot quicker, but needless to say, it's very easy to set up. So I thought I would just walk you through the process of like how I do it, because I think it is genius and I think it's really fun. And of course, you can always set up a webinar and just send a newsletter out to your email list and let them know that you're going to be live. And I think it's a great way to engage your audience and to get questions and to understand like what is interesting to them. And also maybe if you have a sales thing that's coming up, or you just want to keep them engaged and know that you're still around and robust and thriving, you could do that too. But let me just walk you through sort of how my practical way of setting up a LinkedIn Live. So you will have an idea for a topic. I then create slides in Google Slides, and then I will do a screenshot of that very first slide, and that becomes my thumbnail for everything. I then generate a Zoom URL. So I'm not using a streaming device, a streaming platform, but you can if you want to. But I like to use a Zoom so that I have some more capabilities. And quite honestly, I'm just not that great with streaming. So I'll truth be told. So I like Zoom, and then I can make a recording, and then that's the recording that I send over to YouTube. And then, so I create the Zoom URL, and now I'm ready to create my event page, my event. So then I am walking through the steps to create the live event. And they will tell you like all the steps that you need to do. And then the magic is, let me see if I have a slide that walks you through any of that. So here's what it sort of looks like. And they will just walk you through what you need to fill out. It's pretty intuitive. I always double check that the URL is correct, the Zoom URL, because that will stay up on the invitation. And I want to make sure that everyone can see that. And you can put your description in here. And if you've got a co-speaker with you, that's also one of your connections on LinkedIn, you can add them down here, and that will help advertise to their audience as well. And then the beauty is, after you've done all that, and this was on the other slide, is that once you've created this event, LinkedIn will then create a native landing page with your own unique URL, which you can then promote and send out and let everybody know about it. Of course, your own audience will get to know about it because LinkedIn advertises it to everybody. It's super fantastic. You probably have seen where you've gotten an invitation to someone's LinkedIn live event. And that was because LinkedIn was doing all the work for the people that were putting it on for you. So that's super, super great. Like I just like create this thing, and that's that little picture here is just a screenshot of the first slide of whatever it is I'm doing, that the Google Slides that I'm going to go through for the presentation. And then boom, like it's right there. And then it's super great. You can stream, you can do that. You can, they show you how to do that. And then of course you can push it over to Facebook Live, so you can push it over to wherever else you like to, or over to YouTube as well. So you can do that, and they show you how to do that. And you can, I think a lot of people have good success with using StreamYard and LinkedIn Lives. I think Restream works as well. I haven't heard as much about some of the other ones, but I do know that StreamYard works well if you are used to using that. And then if you've got like a cooking demo or a traditional presentation, whatever it might be, or you're having somebody else, just like how you would on any other type of webinar or a meeting, you can do it. It's really, really, it's really great. Again, LinkedIn does all of the advertising for you, and they help increase your visibility also on the platform. You are just sitting back passively, like getting ready for your presentation, and LinkedIn's out there doing all the advertisement, which I love. I think it's also a nice way to stay connected and to be vibrant for your business. And when you don't have to be as polished about it, right? Like no one's expecting that. Whereas I think YouTube, and the culture is changing a little bit, but I think with YouTube, there is this expectation, or you can certainly look around and get some serious imposter syndrome from looking around at other people's videos that are like, they look like they have a nice, good production system that goes into it. Whereas I think with the LinkedIn Live, when you save the recording and put it up on your site, that you can just be your authentic self, your authentic, non-technical self, if you want to. Again, you can stream it over to other platforms if you want. And yeah, so those are all sort of the important things about it. I want to make sure that I cover one of my other favorites is newsletters. And this is also a way that I could say this is how to go from 1 subscriber to over 500 subscribers to your newsletter in 9 hours. And that is with LinkedIn newsletters. And so this is something they rolled out. This is something that you need a creator mode for. And it is, I have this funny story. So I was giving a talk and talking about newsletters. And I thought, oh, I've always wanted to set up a newsletter on LinkedIn. So it was a Friday night. I'm like, okay, let me just set up this newsletter, get some stuff out there. And then I'll start building it up, and I can talk about the process of setting it up, and talk about how we can grow, and what strategies I might use to grow. Because my regular email list is about 15,000 or 17,000, whatever that one is. And then this one I thought, well, I'll just build it up and, see. I'm not sure how I'm going to run it, but whatever. So I set it up on a Friday night. I sent out a newsletter Friday night, and the next day I woke up 9 hours later and I had over 500 subscribers, and I haven't done a thing about it. I just keep submitting newsletters. I keep putting out newsletters, and LinkedIn does, again, all the advertising for me. I could invite more subscribers if I wanted to. And I think I'm up to like over 4,000 now. And so that was just in a short amount of time. So I've only been doing that for a few months. So I am recommending that you do that. You get your connections, you get people outside of your area to connect with you and subscribe to the newsletter. Anyone can subscribe. Anyone can subscribe to the newsletter. They don't have to be a follower. They can follow your newsletter too. But your followers are the ones on your page. You can do newsletters from your company page or from your personal profile. At the time that I set it up, it was only available on my personal profile. So I'm just going to keep it there. I don't know how to like move it over. And maybe that could be a topic for another, like once you start it up in one, how do you move it over to the other? But if you have it on your company page, I recommend that if it's about your business. So if that's how you want to set it up. So anyway, first edition, I got lots of subscribers and it just keeps on growing. And so how you do this, let's say you've got creator mode toggled on, then you will go into your profile or into your company page and you will start a post up there on the top, and then you will select write article. And then from there, it'll say, for the first time, it'll say create a newsletter. And now when I go there, it'll say, it'll have the name. I think I have a slide on that as well, but so that's how you can do it. Try it out. You can always not do it, of course, and it's great. It's really fun, and it works just like a regular blog article interface, right? Like, so you would just upload a cover image there for that space, and then you would write your information. You have your headline, which is your title, like the title, your email subject line is kind of what I use. I mirror the newsletter I send out to the 14,000 people that are in MailChimp. I mirror that over on my LinkedIn newsletter. I make a few edits. I do a few things more specific to LinkedIn, tidy it up a little bit more, and put more hyperlinks back over to my website because I want website traffic also. And so that's how I set it up. So you could set up a new article, you could do drafts, you can now schedule them out. This is an old screenshot, but you can now schedule them out, which is really helpful because I was just doing it in real time. And I do that sometimes in real time, and sometimes I schedule them, some either way. And then you can put everything down here, and then it gets emailed to people. Like, it not only is it available, they get it when they're on LinkedIn, they get notified that you've got a new newsletter out, but it goes into their email inbox, which is so awesome. So like, again, they're like doing all this work for you. So why not be part of it? So now what I called it is Dietitian Success. I mean, literally, I created this thing in like minutes and put this information up there. I don't know if I would still call that again, but I'm not going to make any changes to it now. And I would recommend, so then here's what it gives. You can then send a post out to your to all your groups that you're in. You can send a post out to your company page followers. You can send a post link out to your connections and followers on your personal profile, in your feed, so you can share it with everybody. And that's how you also can get some more subscribers. So it's really great. You can copy the link. Always copy the link because you may never find it again. So then I keep track of it in Trello. And I have a whole card section just for the LinkedIn newsletters. And then I put a thumbnail of what that visual was for that particular one. And then I put the URL in there so that I can find it again. And I can keep advertising it to people if I want to. And then I can just keep track of what I've done. But always keep, when they say copy URL and copy the link, please do that. It's just so you can find it again. Then they have some analytics on it as well. They can tell me who has looked at it. Of course, there's bigger numbers now, but I can like really drill down and see like, oh, so people at DaVita were looking at this. I want to connect with those recruiters because I want them to pay to post jobs on the site. So you can do a lot of stuff on the back end, also the analytics for there. So you can have your images. I put this in here because when I did it originally, I wasn't thinking like what my feed was going to look like and how I wanted them to look. I wanted to have some cohesiveness or sort of like a brand style to my newsletter. I would just sort of put it out there. And I looked around to see what other people were doing on LinkedIn, like LinkedIn employees, how they were doing it. So I get this one called Get Hired, so I can follow hiring techniques and stuff for my dietitian community. And they have a really cool one where they've got like their little logo on one side and then sort of what makes it unique for each one. So then here's some other ones that you can do. Dietitians are on here as well. This one looks to me like the YouTube that she uses, the YouTube thumbnail, Madeline Mann. So there's all different ways you can do it. So then I switched mine up and made it just a little bit better. I probably should do more images now that I'm looking at it like this, but right now it's like the neon title. Maybe I should do images anyway. So that's what I recommend. So, right. So this was like a couple days ago. So then now it's up to 4,000 subscribers and I'm not doing a thing about it. You will need to have cover images. And so there's not anything specific to that in Canva, but I like to use the specs for LinkedIn sponsored content that works. And then you can navigate over to your network and then find newsletters and see all the newsletters that you subscribe to, including yours. So I subscribe to about 15. I guess I probably subscribe to more now, but that's sort of what it looks like. And that's where you can find them. Pro tips, just like with any other type of newsletter or blog, is, short headline title, include some images, lots of keywords, of course, like if you're in private practice with maybe PCOH, that you want to put in that word, or gestational diabetes, or lactation, or whatever it is. Again, remember, it's not just B2B, it's B2C, your consumer, your client, your money. So, and then also include some sort of call to action. I always learn this from Holly, like, don't forget to include a call to action in your blog postings, in your newsletters, your LinkedIn newsletters as well. Article length, I keep it smaller, shorter than my regular newsletter, probably. It's probably more like 500 words, or I sort of like do a quick scroll so that people are not overwhelmed. I can't see what my number 6 is on here, so I'll just move on. That's probably pretty obvious, whatever it is. And I just wanted to put a little plug in here, like all the different types of content you can do on LinkedIn. So there's your post, whether it's on your company page or on your personal profile. And then you've got what are called long form articles, where you can just take one of your blog articles and put that onto either your company page or on your personal profile. And pro tip here, what I do is I take one of the blog articles that sits on my website, like for example, how to blog as a dietitian, and I will not use the whole article for LinkedIn. I'll use maybe a quarter of it, some of the good teaser stuff, or right before I get to the 1, 2, 3s on it, and do a hyperlink to then go back over to my websites, because I want the traffic. I want the ad revenue from my traffic to go. I want people to go there. So if you could think about LinkedIn, it's just like another pool of eyeballs onto your services and onto your content. And then newsletters. That's how newsletters ties into this. Same idea, but it just keeps it keeps like a constant location for it. It's like a what's a good description? It's like a permanent placeholder for all of your content. Whereas your articles, they will show up in your featured content if you want to. You can add them in there, but they will just sort of get lost in your feed later on, so as that you sort of scroll on down. All right, the last one I want to give you information about is providing services. And so LinkedIn's also rolling out what's called LinkedIn product pages onto your pages. I don't have it yet, so I can't show you. Not too many people do have it yet, but eventually on the products, I should be able to then include, what I might do is list like, here's where you can add your resume. Here's where you can add your, here's where you can buy one of my courses. Here's where you can buy the ebook, the resume, the dietetic resume guide. For somebody who's working with consumers, you can say, this is where you can buy my services, group or individual counseling, or this is where you can buy my subscription to my meal plan. This is where you can sign up for the next cooking demo. I'm not sure how it's going to get served up to other people, but this is where you could just put your products in there. And then I would just keep a note of you putting your products in there. If your products change, just want to make sure they get updated in there. I'm not sure how I'm going to use it, but when I get it, I will let you know. But do put in your providing services over on your personal profile. And this is, you can see it down here, what I do. It just gives people a better understanding of what your services are. So LinkedIn, you want to be sort of, looking at your profile from the perspective of the viewer, and you want to be able to provide services for them, right? And so like, what is it? How do you want to present yourself? You don't want to just say, oh, well, I got my undergraduate at UC Davis and then I got my graduate, like it's not about that. It's about how can you be of service? How can I be of service to you so that you can pay me money? Right? Like that's what it's all about. So think about that way. So this just tells people a little bit more about what I do. Like if you just say, okay, I'm a dietitian and I'm a resume coach, oh, that's interesting. But this, like, I can actually provide these services. So that's what that is. And so you can navigate there by, if you don't already have it, on your personal profile, then go to open to, oh, this is what it looks like on a mobile device, but then you will go to open to, and then that will become one of your options. It'll say to add your services. I didn't take a screenshot of that next one, but there's another one where it says you're providing services, and there you can add all this stuff, and then it makes a page, collect that URL for that page too. But it has a whole page of all your different services and what things that you can do, and people can then connect with you. All right, back to the checklist. It all starts with an optimized LinkedIn profile check, making sure that's optimized and having this checklist. So there's all those different places you can navigate over to it on my website, and also in the Whova app. It is one of the downloads that I have, or one of the links that I have that you can go over to. Okay, so that is me. Let me go back up to this so that you can see that. And I'm just going to pop over into the chat and see how many questions we've got. So what's the best way to list speaking engagements and press clips? Ooh, I like that. So I like to, well, I will put that information in my feed as a post. I will tell people that. And anytime that something's sort of coming up in the next week, in the next couple of days, I will pin that post, whether it's my personal profile or whether it's my company page. I then will include, after it's already happened, I will then include that in my featured articles section, and the featured section. And you could just, on your personal profile, just scroll down to your, it won't be easy for me to find it. Is a featured section. You can click the little pencil, and then you can edit it and add a URL and a little description. If it's a YouTube video, or if you've moved the recording over to YouTube, you can create a link to it there. Just put a little description in there as well. You can also then see, like, once you're in there, you can see what the analytics are for that. You can see if this is worth your while spending the time adding that to your featured articles. I've got a lot of followers over on my company page. And so I get, I see a larger volume of activity because of that. So you can just see, was it worth it to get 2 eyeballs on this engagement after it already happened or not? So, but I do recommend that. That's a great place. It just shows like who you are. So if you're doing a speaking engagement and you're talking about PCOS, that's a great thing to have on there. It shows your credibility. It shows your authoritativeness. It shows, who you are, how you present, and your knowledge information that can be shared then with clients or with other collaborators, whether it's a healthcare professional. I was just talking to another dietitian about how, as a private practice dietitian, how to make yourself noticeable to getting referrals to other physician groups. And it all comes back to your personal profile first, showing who it is that you are and what kind of business you can do. And then once that's set up, then you can go out and start harvesting and, finding these practice groups that are in your neighborhood or where you might go. And then you can, go to the office directly. This is not my expertise, but you can go to the office directly and make a connection there afterwards on LinkedIn profiles, or just try to find those people, track them down on LinkedIn. Physicians are not so active on LinkedIn, but sometimes their HR group is active. Sometimes the office manager is active on LinkedIn, and then you can just showcase what your articles are. You can showcase yourself. If you were to go in person into a practice and advertise that you are an expert in gut health or whatever it might be, then you can also include in there like how to find you, or maybe it's an electronic piece that you give them, deliver to them, that you can include your company page, your LinkedIn company page, and that can have like all about your services. Physicians are looking for you. So it's not a matter of, you don't need to like sell them on you necessarily. You just need to know that you're out there and available. Okay. Next question is, yes, there's going to be a recording. And so the other question is, so your content is more career oriented. Is this relevant to, yes. So nutrition jobs. So I use, when I'm talking to other dietitians, my B2B, when I'm talking to other dietitians, I am giving you examples of how I run my business. So you can also run your business as well similarly and take advantage of all these free marketing strategies that are on LinkedIn. But I can only, since I don't have a private practice, I don't work in clinical nutrition anymore like I used to. My business, my revenue comes from running Nutrition Jobs, which is the job board for dietitians. And I've got all stuff over there. So I will talk to you from my experience with that, but know that the how I'm helping to support you is with this LinkedIn idea, is that you can then mirror the same thing. So example, if you're working as a gestational diabetes expert, then all of your content is going to be related to that. So you want to make sure in your headline, your personal profile headline, that you say that you're a private practice dietitian in gestational diabetes. Those two things are key words: private practice, or three things: private practice, dietitian, gestational diabetes. Those three things. You will find clients on LinkedIn. You will find consumers on LinkedIn. You will find collaborators and peers on LinkedIn as well. But yes, so I know it's sort of a little bit different because my business is now in the business of helping people show up with, modern resumes and optimize LinkedIn profiles and getting confidence with job interviewing, and then jobs, I've got all that stuff too. So that's how I sort of speak to that. Okay. It is a quarter till. I want to make sure that you guys have some chance to, let me see if there's any other good, juicy questions. I want to make sure that you guys are able to grab a snack or whatever and be able to go over to Katie's presentation that's coming up next. And I make it sound so easy. It's, you know what? It is overwhelming. And that's why I have the checklist, right? That's my job, is to show you and get you super excited and motivated to show up on LinkedIn. I want more of us dietitians on LinkedIn. It's a great opportunity. We're professionals, and this is a professional platform. So we need to be over there and to show up, put your credentials and your name on the top of your name, like you saw it on my profile. Yeah, I think this is something that everyone should do. It's not overwhelming. It's just like any other platform. You just got to learn, and there's a lot to do. But get the checklist, and then just make sure your profile is spiffy and gorgeous. And oh, thanks, Heather. Yeah, okay, great. Yes. She was just saying that she set up her company page, and it's just a great way, just more real estate. So I'm so glad that you were able to do that. And thank you for everybody for showing up today. If you've got any more questions, you can always find me all over the place. But you can, what's the best way? Just Stacy@nutritionjobs.com, STACEY, or you can DM me over on Instagram. Of course, connect with me on LinkedIn, please. That is where I like to spend most of my time. Of course, I like to hang out on Instagram, but LinkedIn, like, connect with me over there. You don't even have to put a note or anything that you want in there, but I would love to do that. So, and thank you for following me. All right, you guys, anything else? Any other questions? I can stay here for the next 15 minutes, but I just want to make sure that you guys get some, a little bit of a break before going on to your next gig. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. And I'm going to send out a link to the recording. And if you entered my giveaway or you shared your contact information with me, I will just send you an email thanking you, and I'll give you the recording to this if you need it, and a couple other little freebies I'll toss in there too. So thank you so much, you guys. I hope you have a great day. Bye for now.